The first 30 seconds of your insurance calls are make or break. And if we're being brutally honest with ourselves, they're probably breaking you. If you're on the phone and you hear those classic lines, things like, I'm at work, I'm not interested, I already have insurance, or the dreaded, I'm just shopping, and you immediately believe them, that's it. The call is over. But here's the secret. The call didn't end because of what they said. It ended because of how you responded. And look, I'm not saying that to throw shade or to call you out. I say that because I've been there. I have felt that gut punch of an objection when you can't even get your full name out. I've sat there with my hands shaking a little bit thinking, man, what am I doing wrong? So what I'm about to show you in this video is how to take total, complete control of the first 30 seconds of any insurance phone call. This works even when the prospect starts out by telling you that they don't want to talk to you. You're going to learn exactly how to assume the quote without ever sounding pushy or robotic. You'll learn how to flip their initial objections into the very reason they should keep talking to you. And you'll learn the simple pattern interrupts that you can use every single day to break people out of their default, I don't want to do this right now mindset and get them thinking, wait a minute, I kind of like this person. This is different. And let me just pause and say this. I get it. I know exactly why you clicked on this video. Maybe you're brand new and just the thought of the prospect actually picking up the phone sends your heart rate through the roof. Or maybe you've been in the business for years, but you still hate that awkward, clunky, terrible greeting moment. Either way, you've probably had these thoughts running through your head. I don't want to sound pushy. I don't want to annoy people. I'm just not that natural on the phone. I'd rather do it in person. Or the biggest one of all, I don't want to sound like a cheesy sales guy. Well, I've got some really good news for you. You don't have to be the Wolf of Wall Street. You don't need to be a natural closer, whatever that is. You just need to stop doing the one single thing that kills about 80% of insurance calls right out of the gate. It's believing the first objection, believing the first excuse they give you, believing that I'm busy, believing that I'm good where I'm at, believing that I'm at work. Let's be real. Do we honestly think someone is in the middle of performing open heart surgery and they just happen to casually answer a call from a number that they don't recognize? Of course not. If they were truly that busy, they wouldn't have answered the phone in the first place. We're going to get into all of that in a minute. But first, let me tell you a quick story because it's important that you know that I didn't just figure this out overnight. When I first started making calls, it was a disaster. I was so anxious and jittery about getting on the phone that when someone answered, it came out as a chaotic, super high, almost frantic energy. I just thought if I talked fast enough, I could get all the information out there before they had a chance to hang up on me. I was so terrified of them saying no that I basically tried to overwhelm them with enthusiasm. So I'd get someone on the phone, and before they could even process who was calling, I'd be like a verbal fire hose. It would sound something like, hey, this is George from Insurance. I saw your Chris quote online to see if I can save you some money. It was just one big breathless word. And the response I got was not great. More often than not, I'd get stunned silence and then I'd hear a dial tone. One time, there was this one guy who picked up. I went into my big, high energy, lightning fast greeting. I was like, hey, this is George from Insurance Company. And he just cut me off and said, hey, shut the F up. And then he hung up. I remember putting down the headset, staring at the wall. I thought I was doing everything right. I had the energy. I was passionate. So why was this all coming across so terribly? It took me a long time to realize that my nervous energy wasn't being perceived as passion. It was being perceived as pressure. My speed wasn't conveying efficiency. It was conveying desperation. I was so focused on what I was going to say that I wasn't thinking at all about what they were hearing. That's when I knew I had to stop winging it. I had to stop relying on energy alone and start relying on a process. I needed a framework to channel that energy, to slow down, and to control the conversation with confidence instead of chaos. That painful experience forced me to build the system that I use today, and it's the reason our team now can consistently turn cold calls into closed deals. So let's talk about the core problem I see plaguing agents everywhere, from brand new rookies to seasoned veterans. So many agents get on the phone and then they immediately fall into one of two traps that absolutely kill the call. The first trap is sounding like a robot. They're reading some outdated script that they were given. It's stiff, it's formal, it's full of insurance jargon, and there's no personality. They're so afraid of saying the wrong thing that they end up sounding like they're not even a real person. The prospect feels like they're talking to an automated message, not a human being who can help them. The second trap is almost worse. They try to be clever. They try to build this fake manufactured rapport. They lead with things like, "Hey, John, just calling to check in," or "Hey, Sarah, just following up with you." Let's be real. You're not just checking in. You're not just following up. You're calling to sell something, and the prospect knows it. They can smell the commission breath a mile away, especially the sophisticated buyers, the business owners, the high level executives, the clients we actually want. That disingenuous approach is a major, major turnoff for them. And the result of both of these traps is always the exact same. The prospect's defensive wall goes straight up, they go into preservation mode, and they start looking for the very first opportunity they can to hang up on you. And what happens if you don't fix this? What's the real cost of a weak greeting? It's not just a lost lead, it's a domino effect that can poison your whole career. First, your confidence gets completely shot. Every hang up, every not interested starts to chip away at your own self-belief. You start to dread making calls. You see the leads pile up in your list. And instead of seeing opportunity, you feel a wave of anxiety. And you start thinking, I have to make 100 calls today. And it feels like a punishment, not a pathway to getting paid. Second, your pipeline will eventually dry up. And it's not because the leads are bad, it's because you can't get a single conversation off the ground. Your income becomes completely capped, not by your work ethic, not by the quality of the leads, but by your inability to get past the first 30-second wall. Salespeople that can't make it past the greeting have skinny kids. You start to see your expenses, your rent, your car payment, your bills going up, but your income stays flat, and you feel powerless to be able to change it. There's nothing more stressful than that. And third, this is the most dangerous one. You start to burn out. You start blaming the leads. You blame the rates. You blame the economy. You start thinking, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. I've seen it happen over and over again. Good people, smart people, leaving the industry all the time, not because they couldn't do the job, but because no one ever showed them how to master the very first step. So, what have you probably tried that didn't work? You've probably been told to just be extra nice and to kill them with kindness. The problem is, nice doesn't equal competent. You just end up sounding passive and unconfident, like you're asking for permission to do your job. You've probably tried using a script, but it feels robotic and inauthentic. So you abandon it after a few calls because it doesn't feel like you. You think the script is the problem when really it's how you're using it. You've almost certainly tried the just checking in or just following up lines, hoping that they'll magically respond with enthusiasm. And you've probably watched a bunch of other videos with these so-called clever lines or aggressive one-liners from some sales guru that sounds good when he says it, but when you try it, it just falls flat. Here's the problem with all those fixes. They fail to address the fundamental issue. The prospect isn't hanging up because you're not nice enough. They're hanging up because you sound exactly like every other salesperson who's ever wasted their time. Trying to build fake rapport by asking about their weekend is like wiping before you poop. It doesn't make any sense. So it's time for a real fix. But first, because I want you to get a quick win today, right now, I've put together a simple one-page PDF that I call the Greetings That Actually Work cheat sheet. It's got exact word-for-word lines we use in our office to start calls fast, to keep people on the phone, and it helps avoid those initial reflexive objections. It includes what to say when you're hit with the "I'm at work" excuse, how to flip "I already have insurance" into the reason they need to talk to you, and how to assume the quote with confidence without ever sounding pushy. The link is right there in the description. It's completely free. Pause this video, go download it now, and then come right back. Trust me, you're going to want to print this out and keep it on your desk. Okay, so what's the real solution? How do we actually fix this for good? I use a framework that I call the SPICE method. It's not a script, it's a system, and it stands for smile, posture, identify, clear intention, and engage. This isn't just a tactic, it's a fundamental shift in how you approach the start of every single call. So let's break it down. S is for smile. This sounds so basic, but it's huge. People can literally hear when you're smiling over the phone. A smile is contagious, and it instantly changes the entire tone of the call from a cold, sterile interruption into a warm, human conversation. It chemically alters how you sound, making your voice sound more pleasant and engaging. Before you dial, smile. It works. P is for posture. No one wants to work with a slouch. I want you to literally sit up straight in your chair when you make your calls. When you have good physical posture, your vocal posture automatically improves. You sound more confident, you sound more authoritative, your diaphragm opens up, giving your voice more resonance and power. You sound like a leader, not a follower. I is for identify. This is simple. Make sure you're talking to the right person and make sure they know who you are. That's it. Hi, is this Sarah? Hi, Sarah. This is George from Insurance Company. Also, don't say George from Agent Name Insurance Company. It's too many names, it gets confusing, and then half the time they'll think your name is the agent's name. So just your name and insurance company. Simple, clear, and direct. C is for clear intention. This right here is the game changer. This is what separates the pros from the amateurs. You must be honest and just tell them exactly why you're calling right away. No more just checking in, no more beating around the bush. You need to use the magic phrase. The reason for my call is. This simple phrase disarms the prospect because it's radically honest. All of that resistance they had built up starts to melt away because you're not playing games and you're being respectful of their time. E is for engage. After you state your clear intention, you have about 15 seconds to fully grab their attention and make them decide to stay on the phone. You can do this with a pattern interrupt, a big claim, or a powerful, engaging question. For example, our script for a lead that came from our landing page is, the reason for my call is I saw you start a quote online and it looks like you saw the wrong price. So I want to go through it with you to see if we can save you some money. What has you shopping around for insurance? That last part is the engagement. It assumes the conversation is moving forwards. When you combine all 5 of these elements, SPICE, you instantly differentiate yourself. You don't sound like every other salesperson. You sound like an expert. You sound like a professional. You sound like someone who's worth listening to. Now, you might be thinking, okay, George, that all sounds good in theory, but does it actually work in the real world? Well, let me give you some numbers, because we track everything. When we stopped waiting around and started implementing this direct, honest, and holistic process in our agency, our production immediately jumped by 30 to 50% right away because we were getting past more greetings. Same number of leads, but more policies being submitted. We ranked number 6 out of 19,500 insurance agents at the largest captive insurance company, and our team had no prior sales experience or insurance experience. The point is, this isn't just theory. It's a battle-tested system that produces real, measurable results that we still use today. It's not based on luck or having the best leads. It's based on a process that builds trust and gets to the value proposition so quickly that the prospect doesn't have a chance to get bored and hang up. So let's make this practical. How can you start using this on your very next call? I'm going to give you 3 simple, high leverage action steps. Action step 1, master the objections in the greeting. I want you to take the 3 most common initial objections you hear every day. I'm at work, I already have insurance, and I'm not interested. I want you to write down your go-to handle for each one. Then you need to role play it. Say it out loud until it becomes second nature. Here's what it looks like. For the I'm at work objection, what most agents say is, oh, okay, sorry to bother you. When would be a better time to call back? This kills the call and you'll probably never talk to them again. What you will do going forwards is you'll say, with a slight chuckle in your voice, oh, no way, me too. That's exactly why I called. You're at work. You don't have time to shop around for a good deal, so I want to do the hard part for you. I'll be quick. And then just keep going. Don't pause for permission. For the I already have insurance objection, what most agents will say is, oh, okay, well, do you mind if we just give you a quick quote, see if we can save you money? That response is weak and permission-based. So what you'll do going forwards is you'll say, with a confident and positive tone, I'm so glad to hear that. We actually almost exclusively work with people who already have insurance. That makes it really easy to see if we can get you a better deal. Why don't I send you a quote and then you can decide if you want to stay where you're at. For the I'm not interested objection, what most agents will say is, okay, well, thank you for your time. And then they hang up defeated. What you'll do going forwards is you'll calmly and without missing a beat say, of course you're not interested. I haven't shown you anything to be interested in yet. Why don't I put together a quick quote, send it to you, and then you can decide if you're interested. Say these lines over and over. Record yourself doing it. The goal is to deliver them without even thinking, so you sound confident and completely unfazed. Action step 2, memorize your go-to quote assumption line. You need one default line that you can rattle off with confidence to start your calls. Pick one and stick with it until it's burned into your brain. Here's a great one to start with. Hi, is this Sarah? Hi, Sarah, this is George from Insurance Company. I saw you request a quote online. Do you want me to send it to you? That's your default opening from now on. The reason this works is that it removes hesitation. That split second where a normal agent would pause and ask for permission is where you push forward with a helpful offer. You're not asking for permission to talk. You're assuming they want the quote they asked for, and you're moving the process forwards. Action step 3 is track your activity and your ratios. If you want to improve something, you have to track it. You can use tracking software, but it can be as simple as getting a piece of paper, making 2 columns, one that says dials and one that says contacts, and make a tally mark for every single dial you make and another one for every time someone answers the phone. I had a team member one time who was in a massive slump. His production was half of what it was the month before. He'd lost all of his confidence, and when I asked him what was going on, he said that he was bad at handling objections. But when we looked at the tracking data, the real reason became obvious. His call volume was the same, but his quote volume was cut in half. He wasn't talking to enough people. The answer rate on the list had gone down, but he didn't adjust his activity to compensate. The second he focused on getting his dials up to make up for the lower answer rate, his production shot right back up to where it was before. You'll be shocked at how much more intentional and effective you become the second you start tracking. It's kind of like when you first start tracking your steps, and then all of a sudden your steps per day go up. If you pay attention to something, you can improve it. And as your contract rate goes up, your sales will follow. It's just a simple science. So if you found this video helpful, and you're ready to stop just starting conversations and start actually closing them, then you're going to love this next one. In it, I show you how to sell more life and health insurance on your raw new auto leads, and how selling life insurance isn't harder, it's just different. Click right here to watch that now. And remember this, the people picking up your calls are not trying to shut you down just for fun. They're just trying to survive their day. If you can be the one person who guides the conversation with confidence, with clarity, and with a real process, they will follow you. So grab that free greetings cheat sheet in the description. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll turn I'm just looking into, okay, let's get this started today. Because confidence isn't a personality trait that you're born with. It's a process you build. Now go build it.